KRON4, a major news outlet appears to report an explosion at the White House, but it turned out to be a hoax. How it happened. I'm Pam Moore. The news at 5 is next.
This is the Bay Area's news station. KRON4 News at 5 starts now.
Hackers have compromised the main Twitter account of a major news organization. The Associated Press sent out an erroneous tweet about an explosion at the White House. It briefly sent shockwaves through much of the country, as you might well imagine. KRON4's Justine Waldman is here now with the latest on this developing story. Justine.
Well, we know that right now the FBI is investigating this attack. We are calling this the fallout now from this fake tweet. It was felt immediately, and what I want to do now is show you a little bit closer the tweet and sort of read through what it says. So first off, from the Associated Press, their official Twitter account says, breaking: 2 explosions in the White House and Barack Obama is injured. This went out just after 10 o'clock this morning West Coast time, and you can see it was retweeted at least 1,452 times. Minutes later, the AP sent out a statement saying that this tweet that you're looking at now is fake, but by then the damage was done. U.S. stocks tumbled at the news. The Dow dropped about 150 points. You can see the dip there. The arrow is pointing just how low it went, losing about 150 points. The false report wiped out $136 billion from the S&P 500 index in just 2 minutes. Stocks did rebound once the White House confirmed that the president was not hurt.
That the president is fine. I was just with him.
That was the White House spokesman addressing the issue. Now, through a Twitter account, a group called the Syrian Electronic Army took credit for the attack, and it did so on Twitter. Its tweet says, "Oops, at AP, get owned by the Syrian Electronic Army. They are also behind previous attacks on the BBC and CBS News." So people now are asking, how could this happen? And the AP had discovered that in the past few days, malware had infected some of its computers. Malware can go inside a computer network and somehow steal passwords. So that's how they think this happened, but just like that.
Yes, the vulnerability with social media. Did the Associated Press put its Twitter account back up yet?
I just checked. As of now, all of its AP accounts are still offline.
All right. We'll see what happens in the days to come. Justine, thank you. Grant.
All right, Pam, several new developments with that ricin investigation in which President Obama and others were targeted. This afternoon, charges dropped against Kevin Curtis. Now investigators are searching a different Mississippi home, and another threat has been discovered at a military base in D.C. Curtis is the Mississippi man you see here. That's who the FBI had been targeting as its prime suspect. This guy now says he was set up. No evidence of ricin was found at Curtis's home or in his car. Today, he was released from custody.
I hope my incarceration days are over. I'm not a criminal. Amen.
Amen.
And I just want to move forward. I would like to see my music career take back off.
Curtis is actually an Elvis impersonator who says he's been arrested multiple times the past decade, never been convicted of anything. Meanwhile, investigators are now focusing on this man, J. Everett Dutschke, searching his Mississippi home today. This comes as another suspicious substance, possibly more ricin, was found at a military mail sorting facility in Washington, D.C. It was discovered during routine mail screening and is being tested right now to determine exactly what that suspicious substance is. We'll stay on top of this, bring you the very latest. Catherine.
Well, we're learning more about from the surviving suspect in the Boston Marathon bombing. 19-year-old Johar Sanaya's condition now upgraded from serious to fair. He is reportedly indicating more about a motive. Sources saying the Iraq and Afghanistan wars were motivating factors. He's portraying his older brother, who was killed, as the mastermind, saying they were both motivated by extremist Islamic beliefs and watched online videos. And new photos have emerged. Look at this. This showing the police shootout that left one brother dead. This showing the 2 brothers hiding behind a car, shooting at officers, taken by a neighbor from his bedroom window. And this is the car that Johar had jumped in, leaving behind his older brother. It's believed that that dark shadow there in the street is his brother Tamerlan after being taken down by police. Officers jumped aside, but Johar ran over his brother. brother. And in fact, that might be what killed him. The man who took the photos, he came very close to being shot. You see bullet holes in his wall, also in a chair. And the wife of the suspect who died, she's still a focus. Catherine Tsarnaev, this is her leaving her Rhode Island home with her lawyer. She's claimed she knew nothing about the plot and was shocked to hear about the charges against her husband and her brother-in-law. This is her before her marriage. She married Tamerlan in 2010. They have a young daughter. Another relative claiming shock, the mother of the two brothers.
They were being killed just because they were Muslim. Nothing else.
My sons were innocent, and I loved them, and I want the whole world to hear about it.
Don't tell it to this man. This is a gas station manager. He says that he saw the two brothers when they stopped to fill up their tank last week. That's when a carjacking victim came running inside, screaming for help, and the manager came face to face with the suspects.
After maybe 30 seconds, I called the police. He came here, he went inside in the back area, and he closed the door, and at this moment I called the police. But I remember a gun, they want to shoot me. He was he was screaming, and he was nervous.
And the family of the youngest victim of the bombing says a private funeral held today for 8-year-old Martin Richard. There will be a public memorial in coming weeks. Also today, a private funeral for Sean Collier. He was the police officer from MIT, allegedly killed by the suspects, and a memorial service will be held Wednesday. Vice President Joe Biden is expected to attend that. And on Boston's Boylston Street, doors were open today to employees for the first time since the bombing. The city beginning to look less like a crime scene. And we learned a total of 264 people got hospital treatment after the bombings, more than anyone realized. Also, a lot of money has been raised for bombing victims. A special fund overseen by the mayor has raised $20 million. Grant?
Catherine, another developing story we are following. A suspicious package discovered at the Chevron refinery in Richmond has been deemed not a bomb. The Chevron refinery security group discovered a suspicious package here in the parking lot next to the refinery this afternoon, immediately notified Richmond police. Several bomb squads were then called in. This is here video from our helicopter partnership with ABC 7 News. The suspicious package is not near an operating area of the refinery. That was the good news all along. Again, the Richmond Police Department has just determined that this package, not a bomb. Pam?
Right now, panhandling, sleeping on the sidewalk, and other types of similar actions are illegal in certain cities throughout California. But new legislation aims to make those behaviors legal. KRON4's Dan Kerman is here now with details on the Homeless Bill of Rights. Dan.
Well, this Homeless Bill of Rights is the brainchild of Tom Amiano, the San Francisco assemblyman, and he says that right now current law tends to lead to the criminalization of homeless people. Now, here's specifically what this bill is going to do. The legislation allows every homeless person to move freely, rest and solicit donations in public spaces like sidewalks without being subject to criminal and civil sanctions, harassment, or arrest by the law. The bill also allows the homeless to rest, sleep, or live in a motor vehicle as long as it's legally parked on public property. The bill also allows the homeless to collect recyclables as a means of self-employment. And finally, it requires cities to provide health and hygiene centers with bathrooms and showers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, one key question is, how are cities and counties going to pay for all of this, and what will it cost? A spokesman for the assemblyman says at this point they don't have those answers.
I'm sure there's going to be some pushback on this. So what about the jurisdictions who do have the laws that don't allow, that prohibit the panhandling and whatnot? Will they be able to continue enforcement or not?
Well, jurisdictions can only enforce these laws if they meet specific criteria having to do with how many jobs they have and public housing and other types of things. Right now, the assemblyman spokesman says almost no jurisdictions meets these criteria. So the answer would be no.
Okay, then what happens next with this?
Well, it's just passed the Judiciary Committee of the Assembly. It now goes to the Appropriations Committee. If it passes there, then it goes to the full Assembly.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Ways to go.
Yeah, all right, Dan Kerman. Well, we sent Maureen Kelly to find out just how bad the homeless problem is on the streets of San Francisco.
I started out here at KRON4's Civic Center studio and didn't have to go far before I saw evidence of the issue the city has long been struggling with. Exhibit A is this man zonked out under a blanket in the middle of the day, despite the sit-lie ordinance prohibiting sitting or lying on the sidewalk between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. that was passed in 2010. Just a few steps away, I found this hypodermic needle sitting out in plain sight in a planter box. Around the corner on Franklin Street, I came across this doorway, and by the stains on the stoop, I'm deducing that it's been used pretty regularly as a urinal. And it gets worse just a few steps away. For decency's sake, I did not zoom into this alcove because there's evidence of what appears to be human waste. I walked a little further and I found this man exercising his freedom of speech to an audience of none while sitting on the sidewalk in front of a business.
Like a room 12.
And this is just what I found within 4 blocks. Maureen Kelly, KRON4 News.
Weather, you are looking live at a picture of from our camera atop Mount Tamalpais, and you can see the layer of fog and clouds covering the San Francisco skyline. It was very hot yesterday, a little cooler today. What's next? Jacqueline Bennett standing by with the latest for us. Jacqueline.
Well, Pam, it was cooler out there today, and the cooling trend is going to continue. Right now, we're still seeing some temperatures in the 80s. In fact, upper 80s in Napa. It's 86 there right now, 83 in Fairfield. Down in Sunnyvale, 80 degrees there, 82 in Pleasanton. But temperatures a far cry from yesterday. Most locations right now closer to the coastline in the 50s and low 60s. It's 61 in Richmond, 65 in Oakland. Let's take that live picture one more time from our Mount Tam cam. You can see the low clouds rolling in, the fog hugging the coastline right now. You can see that on satellite and radar picture all the way up along the North Bay. We're seeing sunny skies everywhere else, but that fog, it should impact our bay shores into tonight. So we'll have fog near the coastline. Our inland valley shouldn't be affected. Mild temperatures tonight as we head into tomorrow. Continued cooling, more 70-degree readings than 80-degree readings that we saw today, and the cooling trend will continue through Thursday. We will have slight warming into the weekend, though. I'll have your complete extended forecast coming up in just a bit.
Well, if you've ever wondered how much cash you could get if the LAPD mistakenly shot at you more than 100 times, stay tuned. I'm talking about this dramatic case of mistaken identity during the manhunt for cop killer Christopher Dorner. I'll have that story right after the break.
Then at 5:30, Apple unveils its most recent earnings report. Our tech reporter breaks down the numbers for us, and possibly more importantly, when we'll see some new gadgets.
But first, the men accused of plotting to derail a train. They were in court today. What we know about their connection to a terror group. The news at 5 continues next.